guys. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in to another session. I cannot wait to talk to you about this amazing topic. So you guys probably think, how are Christians going through depression? How do we do that? Well, it's simple, but let's go ahead and get right into it. So, how Christians actually go through depression? Well, we are still human beings. We still go through the same things as everyone else. We believe in God. That's the only difference. But we still go through things on a daily basis. We still have trials and tribulations. We still have negative things that actually happen to us. We still have deaths, just like everybody else have deaths that they go through. Like everything that other people go through, we go through it as well. We go through temptations, we go through sacrifices, we go through journeys in our life where we have to make sacrifices. We have to make tough decisions. We have to learn from our mistakes. We make mistakes every single day. Like I said, we are human. So we just believe in God. We just have faith. And yes, we do make mistakes, but we know that God is there with us. We know that God is our protector. So that's the only thing, is that we believe in a higher power. When I was going through my depression, I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand why I was going through it, because what I knew was actually taking place, the reason why I was actually going through it, I knew everything that was going on, but I didn't want to admit it. And that's a lot of, it doesn't really take a rocket scientist to know, that a lot of us, we just suppress our emotions of an event or events that have taken place, because we don't want to deal with it. We feel like we just want to bury it and keep moving on. But unfortunately, life is not like that. It comes around multiple times until you go ahead and you deal with it accordingly. So, but this was something obviously that was very hard and very difficult for me to ignore. I wanted to make sure that I went ahead and I took care of the situation as soon as I possibly could, because I went through depression already. I did not want to go through it again. Unfortunately, I did go through it again, but I wanted to get through it as soon as possible, because this was not me. This was not what I wanted for my life. I didn't want to be stuck in a rut for, forever. I knew that what God had in store for me was on the other side of what I was going through, but I needed to change some things in my life in order to make sure that I get there. I needed to make sure that I was making a difference for myself. And I need to hold myself accountable and making sure that I get there. This is something, whether you're a believer or not, this is just real talk. Like when you're going through something, you always think that it's your fault. And that was my thing. This is something that I was dealing with internally. I didn't know how to forgive myself. And so I had to remember that God has already forgiven me. God already loves me. So why am I torturing myself every single day because of something that I did? Because I made a mistake. Because I was holding myself accountable. I did good for months without any issues until that very moment. And I felt like a significant mistake. And I didn't know how to get around it. I didn't know how to get out of it. It was no way. It was a mistake that was taking place. It happened, and so it was time for me to go ahead and do something about it. It was time for me to own up to it, to not get upset with myself. And that was the thing. is that I was getting very upset with myself, and I'm trying not to cry, but I was getting very upset with myself, where I was punishing myself for what I did. And it was so significant to me that I was so close to receiving, to moving forward, moving in a direction, checking another box off. I was moving in the right direction. I was following the way the Lord has already paved out my life. I was walking in that path. And then all of a sudden I took a detour because I became impatient. And this is what I'm telling you, that impatience, it makes you lose everything. It makes you lose really who you are and what you've worked on for so long, because you rather throw away everything that you've worked hard for, or how far you've come, for that one moment, for that one time that you need to be patient. And so it's coming around again, what I'm going through. And I'm just like, okay, Lord, I'm just going to take a step back, and I'm going to make sure that, okay, I do this and I do that, but I'm not going to push anything. I'm not going to be impatient. I'm just going to wait on you to see me through, because I know that you can do it far greater than I can. And I'm just going to wait on you. I'm going to continue to pray. And that's our thing, right? As Christians, that's what we do. We pray. And I talked about that before in the previous video, but we pray. I pray. I can only speak for myself. I pray for everything. It doesn't matter what it is, from the smallest thing to the largest thing. I pray about it all. And I talk to God, about it. And that's what prayer is praying, is seeking God first, is asking him, is calling on his name, is talking to him, having a real authentic conversation with him. Just like how I'm talking to you guys, I talk to God the same way. I let him know about everything. I air out my dirty laundry, because guess what? He knows all. He knows everything. He already knows, but he loves it when we acknowledge it, when it comes out of our mouth, and we speak on it. We talk to him about it, because that means that we're stretching, or we are opening up to him. So yeah, just because I'm a Christian does not mean that I don't have issues. I have issues that I go through every single day. Just today, actually, coming from work, while I was at work, I had to make sure that I don't get upset with myself, because I was getting in that habit once again, that I wanted to go ahead and get stuff done as soon as possible, quickly. And I wanted to, and I felt like, and I didn't want to leave anything in the bin. And then I had to remind myself that everything is going to be okay. You did good. I'm proud of you. I had to give myself that pep talk. And I talked about pep talk before, so you guys go ahead and check out that video, that previous video as well. But I had to give myself a pep talk, because I needed to let myself know that everything was okay. That, girl, you did what you need to do. You're good. And guess what? Don't worry about trying to get everything done today, because you still have tomorrow that you need to make sure that you have something, because we've been kind of running a little low here and there on days of receiving, things to process. And so I would sometimes just go ahead and keep things in a bin and wait until the next day, so that I can have something when I come in the morning. And so this was really one of those times, because if I finished that, I wouldn't have had anything in the bins. And so I did half of it already, and I said, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and keep the rest of it in the bin for tomorrow. So I did that, and I was just like, I had to calm myself down and let myself know that everything is going to be okay. And then another event happened happen where I was getting irritated because I was taking wrong turns, or I was afraid that if I took a different route than what the GPS was telling me, that I would somehow get lost. But the crazy thing and how our mind work is that I already knew what was down that road, taking a different path than what the GPS was telling me. However, I said, no, I'm just going to go ahead and go with the GPS. How crazy is that, right? I would have possibly been able to get to my destination much quicker than if I, than me actually sitting in traffic and waiting for a light after a light after a light, and then being in more traffic when I try to merge onto the highway. So it was really just so much that was really just going on in that moment, and it was just making me so upset, so frustrated. I mean, I could feel the steam rising, but I could not get upset. I couldn't get upset. I had to calm myself down, and I was like, Lord, please help me, because I'm getting to a point where I am getting upset all over again. So it's just really what I do, and like I told you guys before, and I'll continue to tell you guys, is that I will go through things as anyone else go through things. But the only thing with me is that I pray about it. I talk to God about it to help me to release all of that stuff, because guess what? He's taking care of it all. Why am I going through depression when He's helping me and He forgives me? The thing with me though is that I told you guys I have dealt with depression and also perfectionism. And I don't know if that's a word, but I just made it up. So anyway, I am a perfectionist. I used to be anyway. I'm not claiming that label anymore, but I used to be a perfectionist. And so I really had to come down to a point where I'm like, I'm okay with not finishing everything, or I'm okay with not completing everything and not everything going my way. That's the thing. It's not about completion. It's about things going my way. Like, oh, I wish I had enough time, or oh, I wish I could be able to take the steering wheel from this person and drive the right way because they're just irritating me on how they're driving. Just little things like that. It's another way of having control issues. And I deal with those things, but I talk to God about it. And I'm just like, I shouldn't be going through these things, myself, right? I myself say, why am I going through these things? Yet I have to realize that I am still human. I have to remind myself all of the time that I'm still human, and I'm going to make mistakes each and every day, even if I don't want to. Even if I want to have the most perfect day, I'm still going to make mistakes. Just today also, third mistake. Today, I went out to get my free 8-piece chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A. Yep, I'm being very specific. I went out to get my chicken nuggets, and I locked the door to my granny's house, as I am in now. I locked the door to her house, but I forgot the key to get back in the house. So by the grace of God, my uncle, I called him because he has a spare key. I called him, asked him if he could come and let me in. Well, by the grace of God, he was already headed this way. He said, I'm headed down there anyway. So he was able to let me into the house. One of the reasons why I feel like we place ourselves in these predicaments is because we get anxious. We are controlling. We're perfectionists. We are going through something that's deeper than we could ever imagine. It's always something that we're going through of a ball of emotions, and it begins to spiral downward and puts us into a pit of depression, puts us into a pit of a panic attack or anxiety attack, or something that we shouldn't be going through in the first place. instead of allowing God to take care of it, we end up trying to take care of it ourselves. And then when that doesn't work, we get upset with ourselves because now we have placed ourselves in this position, and we're like, how can I get out of it now? Or we try to dig ourselves out, but yet we are digging ourselves deeper into the hole and we can't get out. And that's where God comes in. That's when his grace and his mercy takes place, because God has already created an opportunity for us to be able to get out of that hole that we've dug so deep into. He has a plan already laid out for us. So all we have to do is just call on him. All we got to do is talk to him and say, Lord, please help me. Please help me out of this situation, because I can't do it. I'm out of answers. I'm out of turns. I'm out of chances. Like, I don't know what else to do. And a lot of times, honestly, and before I really got my relationship right with God, I used to have use God as a last resort. And I know you probably do too. You try to do everything that you possibly can that's humanly possible, right? And it ends up not working. But once we call on God, then all of a sudden everything becomes easier. We don't even know it. We don't even know that it was God who, made it happen. We don't acknowledge him. We don't thank him. I'm just here to let you know that he's always there. He's behind the scenes. You can't see him, but he's there. You don't see the producers, the directors. You don't see any of them because they're all behind the scenes. But they all have an important role to play. He has all of these different roles. He's my father. He's my healer. He's my deliverer. He's my rock. He's my cornerstone. He is my doctor. He is my friend, my confidant. He is my love. He is my everything. He is my peace. He is my joy. He is my everything that I need and more. I call on him. And I know that he's right there. Even when I feel like he's, sometimes when I was going through my wilderness season, he was there. Times I felt like he wasn't. He was still there. We feel like we have to feel God in order to know that he's there. But you don't, because he's always there. He's always listening. And he loves it when we call on him. He loves it when we ask for him, when we seek him first. He loves that. He loves to hear from his children, because he's like, oh, they need me. Oh, I'm so excited. What can I do for them? What can I do next? He's so excited to help us out. And he is so saddened when we don't call on him, when we place ourselves in predicaments such as what I did, and get to a point where I'm just so overwhelmed or so lost that I go into depression. But guess what? He's still right there supporting me. He's providing me with every single thing that I need to know to help me be able to move out, get out of depression, to see what's on the other side, and being able to talk to you guys about my journey. So I pray that this helps you. Hopefully this was not too long for you guys, but I pray that you were able to receive something from this message, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys in the next session. Until then, bye.